Hi everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel and happy full moon. We're going to do a full moon reading on the full moon because the moon is full in just 3 hours, which is 8:30 p.m. Pacific on March 17th. So if you are east of that, it's likely that it's on March 18th. The full moon is in the sign of Virgo, but right on the precipice of Libra. And I'm excited to go over the astrology with you guys today. What we're going to do is go through the collective astrology, and then we are going to do a sign-by-sign explanation of what's going on. Now, the aspects that are forming this full moon tonight are very similar to the aspects that are similar to another video I did recently, which I've renamed now, and it's called Sun with Neptune. So on the day that we had the conjunction with Sun and Neptune, there was a very special set of aspects. I did an extended for members, and so this applies to us today. So it's a slightly different organization of planets, but it is the same sort of energy, the same sort of connection. So I'm excited to tell you guys about it today, and I hope you're enjoying this full moon, and I hope it brings you much love and blessings. Okay, so why don't we start off with talking about the astrology chart. By the way, if you guys are interested, my readings are in the description. They are still by a direct link only. There's also going to be a link in the comments if you're interested in that. I don't think I have anything else to say. I already told you that the members extended is in the description, but it's the same one that I did a couple days ago for the Sun with Neptune, the one that we did 3 or 4 days ago. Now listen, this aspect is similar to that previous aspect, and I also did an all sign for everyone that day. So I made a playlist specifically for what's going on right now astrologically. So if you're really interested in the astrology that we talk about today, then maybe you can go and check out the full video, because the other video, because there'll be more on it there. And that's a public video, and there's an all sign with it too. So you may want to watch both messages and see how they connect. Basically, our base energy is the Sun with Neptune again. Right now, the Sun is almost at 5 degrees apart from Neptune, which is still considered a conjunction. It's still a once a year conjunction. And remember, we were talking about illuminating the truth. Now, this is a very special place for the Sun because it is with Neptune and Jupiter, which are both of the rulers of Pisces. And I have this deck of cards. It's called the Healing Light Tarot, and it has the Vesica Pisces on the back. So I thought I would use it today, and we can get messages that way for all the signs. So this is our point from which the light is coming, and it is coming onto the moon, which is at 27 degrees of Virgo in the third decan of Virgo. Virgo is ruled by the planet Mercury, which is now in Pisces. This is a detrimental position. I'm not going to focus a lot on this today, but Mercury in Pisces can bring complications to communication. So be mindful of how you communicate, who you say what to, and those kinds of things. The sixth house, or Virgo, can represent people who are hostile to you, people who are outright trying to bring you down or bring you some kind of trouble. And so the combination of this full moon with Neptune and Pisces, Mercury and Pisces, can bring about an energy of miscommunication, and people who are already looking to pick a fight with you might find reasons to. So be mindful of this. Mercury is also the traditional ruler of the third decan. Remember, each part of a sign is divided into 3 parts. Each sign is divided into 3 parts. So the first, the second, and the third decan, and each one is ruled by a traditional and a modern ruler. The third decan is also ruled by Mercury in Virgo, and the modern ruler is Venus, who is now in Aquarius conjunct Mars on a somewhat uncomfortable angle to the moon as well. So the ruler of Virgo and the decan rulers, both modern and the traditional, are at somewhat less than positive angles. They're not terrible angles, but they're not really good, well aspecting the moon. So in other words, the flow of the energy at this time may be a little awkward. It may be a little bit imbalanced, but it doesn't mean terrible things will happen. Just make sure that your communication is clear and that you're mindful of who you're saying what to and in what way. Now the sun we can focus on a little bit too is in the third decan of Pisces. That's where it's drawing its energy from. And the third decan of Pisces is ruled by Pluto, which is the modern ruler of the third decan of Pisces. And we'll see how that connects to the astrology I want to show you today. And there is also Mars ruling the third decan of Pisces. Now I can't tell right now. That's 21. No, it's 21 and 20. It's just above a semi-square, and that's a good thing. So I was just counting to see if there was a semi-square between Mars and the sun, and there isn't. So it's just missing a semi-square, which would be a negative angle. So it's more of a neutral type of energy. Again, similar effect to all the other rulerships. They're not very particularly strong. They're not particularly intense. So we're sort of missing the mark in terms of the supportive energy with this full moon. But there is something that I really wanted to show you guys today, and it's pretty special. Beyond that, of course, we have Jupiter, Neptune, and the Sun in Pisces, and we've talked about this being special. So there is a clarity, a truth being revealed. We're all looking at pretty deep level self-awareness, and so all of that self-awareness is being shown on the moon, showing us the practical way forward, how to deal with things. Some of those things may seem scary for some of us. Some of them may feel like obstacles, but we are being shown exactly what's going on so that we can sort of move on and do better. So one more other thing that I'll give you guys a reminder on. So recently at the last video I did a lot of videos this week because a lot's going on. So I hope you guys get to watch them and enjoy them. There's a square that is forming between the nodes of the moon, the south and the north node, and Saturn. So this week we talked about how that is going to be a huge mainstay of astrology until the end of 2022. So you want to watch the video on that. So this kind of important energy, this type of energy of self-awareness is really being highlighted at this time. What are you doing? How are you doing it? How are you going to get there? And this awareness of who, what, when, where, how, and why, the action that you're taking. So be very self-aware, see how things are playing out, because Saturn is a part of this energy. Of course, this has to do with structures in your life. I don't mean to be very serious, but it is a serious time, and you will do very well if you address the things that you need at this time so that you don't have to deal with them later. If you put things off at this time, they will be difficult to address later, and things will have a way of maybe sticking around or dragging on, possibly as late as November this year, 2022. So you want to make sure that you're kind of dealing with that. And like I said, I'll pop it in the playlist that I have down below. I don't have the video at the time of filming, but I'll pop it in after for those of you who want a refresh on that energy. And that's in all signs with specific messages for all of you as well. So that's kind of the overview of the astrology. I do want to kind of mention to you guys, thank you to Fates. I think that's your username. You reminded me of the astrology, Vedic astrology term that I was looking for with regard to the current situation with the nodes. And it's called Kala Sapara Yoga. And it's the special form of this yoga is the Kulaka Yoga. And so what this yoga represents, in Vedic, they have lots of different ways of looking at astrology. And there's one particular type of yoga or belief about the nodes when there is a series of transits on one side of the nodes, then it is said to be inauspicious. Now, I don't want to get this video to be very long, but a lot of the things that have come up since this yoga had begun on the 13th of December 2021 has come to pass. It's been kind of a difficult time. And I'll get into this later because I think it's important to highlight, and I think things are playing out along the lines of this belief. But I do want to give you guys a heads up that when the moon is breaching this yoga, this alignment, it's breaching the yoga, so it's not actually in effect. So when the moon reaches 25 degrees Taurus, it breaks the yoga, this malefic sort of energy. And while the moon is on the other side of the nodes, which is considered a regular transit in Vedic astrology, very much like Western, it is considered to break the yoga, break the bad luck, but the bad luck will continue to begin until the next transit will break the yoga on a more permanent basis. The next iteration of this bad luck, I just want to give you guys a heads up, begins very shortly, and we have a sextile here between the south node and the moon. So the next time that the moon will pass the south node, which is March 22nd, it will break that, it'll create the yoga again, this malefic, very dangerous sort of yoga. We'll talk about that in a few days. I promise I'll make a video on it. And the fortunate side of this is that we only have one more iteration of the moon on this side of the nodes. It's basically a yoga that describes an imbalance in the cosmos because all the traditional planets are on one side of the nodes. We don't really count Ceres and Lilith, which are now in Gemini. Although Ceres, you can kind of argue, is a minor planet. It's a small planet outside of Mars. So it's a dwarf planet. And so you could say that this yoga isn't actually happening or has been broken now that Ceres is here. But that's not traditional Vedic astrology because they didn't use this point. And I don't think it was even discovered until fairly recently. I mean, in the last couple hundred years. Anyway, so the moon will breach the south node on March 22nd and will one more time create the yoga. I will talk about this in more specific because I think you guys are interested. A few of you have asked. But just a heads up that right now we're in the more positive side of energy. So the way that you can think about astrology in general is that, you know, there's the Western system, there's the Vedic system, there's many different schools of thought. And when you appreciate things in a holistic way, right, between the practical, astrology, all these different ways of looking at things, there's a lot going on right now. And particularly through the lens of astrology, when we combine this Kulaka yoga and also the Saturn squaring the nodes and the previous aspect on Algol with Pluto, that's a lot of pressure that's been around us at this time. I'm happy to say that it's on the trail end of this series of energy. And Saturn square the nodes has a lot more to do with restructuring our lives or making it work better. It's not destructive in the sense of creating chaos like Lilith would be, or Algol would be, or this yoga would be. Saturn square the nodes has a lot to do with reorganizing ourselves so we can do better. So don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. But one of the reasons why it's so intense right now is this aspect. And yeah, proves right again. So it's kind of an interesting thing to appreciate. So one of the things that I heard about today was that Macron, the president of France, and this was in French, what I seen, and one of my viewers, one of you guys, tipped me off about this. She is a Ukrainian speaker and told me about this. And Macron, and this was on the French news, I suppose, or excuse me, on the Ukrainian news. But apparently Macron had a meeting with possibly Putin, I'm not clear about this, and Zelensky, the president of the Ukraine, and he said went on stage. I saw the video, and he said that Europe should get ready for an escalation. So this is sort of in line with this kind of trepidatious energy that we're around at this time. And if we were to say when that can happen, it could happen around March 22nd when, again, the moon breaches the south node. So I wish everyone all the best. This affects our personal lives and the collective. So I just wanted to mention that today. And then also, before we get into some really cool kind of alignments, the moon is actually with a star called Isar, which is the veil. Now, I love the veil in terms of iconography. I think one of the most pretty depictions of the veil was something I read in Milton about how the stars would show through the night sky, and the veil was stopping us from seeing the magnificence of the totality of the universe. So the darkness that we see when we look up at the sky is the veil, and the stars are little holes in the veil that allow us to see little pieces of what the universe is all about. So I thought that was very beautiful. Isar, the name is Arabic, and it is for veil. But the reason you may be wondering why I called the video, the full moon of Kings, is that at 26 degrees, I believe, no, 28 degrees, sorry, is this star. And this is a star that is associated with being a king, a figurehead, a leader. And so this in some way is bringing that type of energy to all of us. Beyond this, in South American and African traditions, this star called Isar, it wasn't called Isar in those traditions. There was a lot of stories in those continents that depicted, that said that this is where the ancestors came from. And what's interesting about that is that the makeup of the star itself resembles the chemistry of our sun. So it's strange that people who didn't have science, who were saying these stories, these histories of theirs, who said that their ancestors came from this direction, were from a star that's specifically similar to composition to the sun, which would mean that it's likely that there could be a similar habitat around it. So I thought that was very beautiful. So that's just a little caveat. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you guys the alignment that we're under right now is similar to something that we talked about a couple days ago. And we're going to do this sign by sign today, but I wanted to show everyone collectively first. So let me just bring it up so that we can get reminded of this transit, because it's kind of special. So if you look here, and if you've watched my last video, that video will be linked in the description if you want a refresher. This looks very similar to a transit that we had while the moon was in Cancer a few days ago. And so what is this transit? what is this aspect? This is a kite formation with the focal point on the moon, but this time in Virgo, and our favorite mystic rectangle. I'm liking the mystic rectangle more and more. So this is a very special alignment that came up earlier this week and is coming up again. It doesn't mean the same thing, so we're going to go sign by sign to explain it. But suffice it to say, all this energy in Pisces is being fed into the energy in Virgo. And so wherever that is in your life, you're getting a lot of clarity with the Sun and Neptune conjunction still there. And you are gaining perspective and possibly seeing things for what they are in a very clear and decisive way. And hopefully that is giving you practical advice regarding what to change in your life, what needs to be released. The South Node in Scorpio in the 8th house is a very powerful transit. So what needs to be released, what needs to change amid a world of intense power struggles, right? Pluto, be it personal or collective. So a world of power struggles, really overwhelming energy. Through this full moon, you may be gaining some pretty intense perspective on how to go about dealing with it. I wanted to show you something cool. Now, this won't apply to everyone, but a couple days ago, you guys know I do customer or client calls, and I talk to you guys about your astrologies. And so I have a long wait time for many reasons. And the serendipity or the synchronicity of when I speak with people is sometimes very uncanny, meaning the wait time is kind of long. And then when I speak with people, sometimes it's very strange how aligned their chart is to the current chart. So this is a chart of someone who I spoke with. I'm not going to say their name or anything about their situation. And I did get permission to use their chart to show you this. Just in case someone else has this chart, then maybe they'll know that this is a very special angle. So if you notice, this is very, very similar to the current transit of the full moon. This is a chart from 1966 on May 1st. So if you were born on May 1st, 1966, or if you know someone who was, or if there was a special day on that day almost perfectly aligns with today's transit of the moon. So you see the moon here. This is 1966. This was a time when Venus, Saturn, and Chiron were together in Pisces. This is where Neptune, Jupiter, Mercury, and the Sun are right now. And the North Node was here. Almost perfect alignment. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime event that's happening for this person in their lifetime. And I believe that something to do, I'll just give you guys example, something to do with something in their life with Chiron, Saturn, and Venus that was quite difficult is being transformed with the Sun and Neptune. Some type of secret, possibly some type of clarity regarding an issue. If we set their Sun to the first house, this is in the 11th house. So this is to do with friends and those kinds of things. And the moon in the 5th house, a lot of clarity of where they stand with other people. So if you have this transit, know that today is very special for you. It's very rare that you catch such a perfect alignment for people. And it was a nice coincidence that it was this person who had waited for a reading for a while. And when we did it, it was this special alignment for them. So I wish you well. Thank you for letting me use your chart. And I hope the rest of you find inspiration in it. So I think that that's it in terms of the astrology. Now we can get into the sign-by-sign breakdown of it. I kind of did this on the computer, so I have my notes to the side. It's different than I usually do it, so hopefully that will work. I'm going to use the cards today because there's enough going on. But yeah, I hope you find this full moon inspirational. Let's see. I hope you find this full moon inspirational. I hope I didn't scare you guys with the Kulika Yuga. The Kulika Yoga. I think it's pretty interesting. If you guys want to know more, I can tell you more about it, and we can do another video soon. But just March 22nd is when everything gets back out of balance, and so therefore we might see what this full moon is really all about. Sextiles, let me show you guys, because I kind of imply things sometimes and I forget to be explicit. So the sextile that I'm mentioning here between the moon and the south node, those are like opening the door to something, opening Pandora's box. And so, whatever's been coming up, the big news that I heard, like I told you, was Macron was signaling that there would be an escalation of conflict, bringing war to Europe. But of course, they're under great stress, and I hope he's wrong, frankly. I hope he's wrong, but, I do trust his discernment also. So not to worry anybody, but that's just a heads up. In terms of that whole conflict now, it's hard not to talk about it because it's so relevant. I just want to say that, at this time, if you feel helpless with regard to this energy, if you feel like very overwhelmed, it might be a good idea to send good energy towards the resolution of these circumstances. And in order to keep it very in balance, I would really recommend that you send energy or that is not a judgmental nature. One of the parts of this conflict is definitely a lot of secrets, and I'll talk about this in future videos. There's a lot of secrets here, and it shows astrologically. So there's a lot of things that we don't know. There's a lot of things that are hidden, and there's a lot of lying going on all sides. I'm not picking favorites. And when it's a situation like that, I think when we think about the harm that it's causing people, so simply asking in whatever way that you do for the alleviation of suffering of everybody affected, I think that would be a wise way to do it. So you can make a change by sending good energy in that direction, especially on the full moon. Okay, so sorry to, again, it's part of my heritage, it's part of my identity, so I don't mean to talk about it, but it's very relevant for me, so I can't avoid mentioning it sometimes. But I think that you guys are going to like the energy of this full moon, so let's use it wisely, because the energy is all over the map, and we want to make sure that we are using this energy wisely, okay? So we're not wasting any opportunities for good energy, okay? Hi guys, I'm back. Sorry, it was a little blip. So all I want to say is this is not going to be intense, and if you want more explanation on the astrology of this, watch the members only content or the all sign that I did for Sun and Neptune. The link is in the description. Okay, so Taurus first. Let's see, I have to get organized first. Okay, how am I gonna do? Okay, I need to have the right windows open. Okay, sorry dudes. Let's do this. Okay, so when we have high Tauruses, welcome. I know you guys are patient, so you'll put up with me. So for you, I think that the focus for Taurus in a big way has a lot to do with personal transformation. I think you can expect with this energy a lot of personal resolve. Also for you, a big factor with this energy has to do with releasing old relationships and things that aren't working in your best interest. So a lot of letting go of people and relationships that were not true to you, as well as really seeing what kind of energy people have brought to you. And so changing yourself by virtue of assessing what they were like to you, what other people were like to you, is a huge part of this energy. And so at this time, you're meant to really embrace new ways and new directions. If you're called upon because you like something a lot, pursue new interests, try something else. It's your time to change. It's your time to allow yourself to be different. Okay, so why don't we pick some cards to clarify that? So we have the Death card, which is the 8th house. So that's where the South Node was, if you want to take a look at the chart specifically. And then we have the 4 of Wands, which is happy home, happy family. And then we have the Knight of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. Definitely distancing yourself from energies that are adverse to you, energies that are in some way, you know, combative, and specifically people who hurt you. I don't mean to start off on a low note, but relationships that disappointed you, friends that didn't treat you well. In fact, with the Sun and Neptune, it shouldn't even be friends that didn't treat you well, but more to do with people who inspired you to have a better life. Those friends that called you and said that the person that you were with was not okay. If this is not your current partner, maybe this is residue from a previous one. So I'm not talking about your current partnership, although it may be a part of the equation. But this Knight of Swords, someone's coming at you in an aggressive way. Sometimes when people figure out that you're docile as a person, if you're non-combative, they'll just start picking at you and being quite harsh. So maybe that's a part of it. Then we have the 6 of Swords, moving on. I see you very much moving on. The Death card, just choosing you above any past relationships. 5 of Wands. We've been getting this for you a lot of stress, a lot of residual guilt for possibly leaving people behind. But I think it's necessary. And then we have the Hermit. Now, I didn't mention this in the astrology part, but many of you are still watching from that section. So the Hermit is actually the star Izar. So Izar in the Hebrew tradition is the letter Teth, which is the Hermit card. So a lot of us will be getting this Hermit Virgo energy at this time, because it's going to be standing on your own, you know, going a different path. And specifically for you, Taurus, because your North Node's there, the answer is clear. You know, go in your own direction, find inspiration. The moon is in your 5th house. So it's a time to find joy and not look to see who's coming along. I think not looking for approval is a big part of this. So I wish you luck with that. Why don't we see the next sign? We have Pisces. Okay, good. I feel like Pisces has been waiting for their readings a lot. So why don't we talk about Pisces first or second? So hi, Pisces. Let's take a look at your chart. So this is your chart. And so for you, a lot is going on to do with self-awareness. Self-awareness to do with your childhood. And this is going to be a continual theme. I think overall your community is greatly improving, your social community. A lot of getting away from stupid people and bad ideas. I think that you've gotten stuck a little bit with people that don't matter, or people that, you know, I had this experience at school. I won't say which one, but I ended up in a course that on a topic I'm very interested in, but the people and the ideas that were being taught were so oppressive and so not with what that course was about, not what that field of study was about. And I had to get away from them. So sometimes it's like you don't necessarily end up with bad people, but just the situation sucks and it's not what you're looking for. So I think that there's a distancing that's going on for you with that. I think feeling good is very important for you at this time. And I think that it's your birthday, so happy birthday if you're Sun in Pisces, but feeling good is very important at this time. There may be a romantic connection that's happening for you as well. So look back the last couple days or the next couple days. Who are your connections? And if a friend is insisting that you go somewhere with them, Pisces, then please go with them. Your friends might light the way to a very interesting new connection. So trust the flow. And if someone's saying, go do this, go do it, especially if they tell you yesterday, today, tomorrow, the next few days. Let's see the next message. We have the 10 of Pentacles. That's Mercury in Virgo. So that's Mercury is opposite to where this card is, dignified. And then we have the 7 of Pentacles. This is, again, pointing the tested and true in your life, Pisces, are consistent. So the people that you're meant to be with, the people, it's almost like the old reliable is always there for you to have your back. And sometimes it feels as though maybe you get a little, how do you say, impatient. And so you change things up, but then you just go back to, go back straight to the people that you trust. The Magician. Siblings may be very important for your success at this time. Siblings and cousins. Financial success with siblings. Financial success with cousins, with your family. Knight of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries. I am getting the feeling that maybe new people that are in your life, these inconsistent people, they may be coming and going out of your life to the point that you go back to the people that you know, the people that are good. And then we have the 8 of Wands as the next card. Somebody is loading you up with a lot of kind messages. Somebody is saying a lot of things, but maybe not so consistent. Maybe the actions are not matching the words right now. It looks like maybe some of you guys are waiting. Somebody's making you promises. And I think that you're hoping that things will come to you from a relationship that you have. They may very well come in for you from a promise, but I actually think that the person who's bringing you success and wealth and prosperity is not who you think. So I think that success, somebody's promising you a whole lot of nothing. And I think on the flip side, someone who's very close to you is going to bring you a lot of success. So it may not be what you think, Pisces. Okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. Now let's find out who's next. What sign is next? Okay, so we have Leo next. Hi, Leos. I feel like all the signs that were in the back before are getting chosen first, so that's good. Okay, so Leos, let's take a look at your chart together just to get familiar with where this full moon is. So we have, for Leos, definitely still the energy of career and expansion and growth. So in some ways, you have to let go of, this is going to be a continual theme for you, let go of old home patterns, family patterns that were limiting. Maybe family members may be coming up at this time for you to reconcile and work your way through issues with. But definitely your focus forward is growth. And I think at this time you might be experiencing some kind of financial opportunity. Change is for the better. So if a change is coming up for you at this time, if there's a change in your work or if there's a change in your relationship with someone, I think it's only freeing you up for a financial opportunity or some good direction in a move in a good direction, some type of change. Now let's see what your messages are. So we have first the Death card again. So a lot of 8th house energy because we're talking about the South Node in Scorpio, so that's understood. And then we have the Page of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, secondary transits in Earth as well. New beginnings, new financial beginnings. Again, the Magician. That's Mercury. So Mercury's going to show up a lot, even though I don't have him up on this chart. Mercury is ruling Virgo and the 3rd decan of Virgo where the full moon is. So we have your action, your initiation with regard to a situation. It's just, money's just waiting for you to get it. Any idea that you're having right now is pretty lucky, pretty fruitful, a big change, a big opportunity, a change in direction, letting go of something in the past or something that's still in the present that's slowing you down from from the past is letting you go, moving you in a good direction forward. You're supposed to embrace this new opportunity, embrace this new direction. Then we have Lovers, which is the card of Gemini. So for you, this is in the 11th house of friendship, but this could be love. I feel as though there's a drastic change for you, Leo. It's also true, I didn't mention this in the overall view, but we are talking about the 8th house. So you could be in an intimate moment with someone. Sparks could be flying between yourself and someone else. So that's exciting as well. Let's see the next message. We have the 6 of Swords. Moving forward, I feel like money is enticing you towards a new direction, Leo. And then we have the Hanged Man. You're going to have to wait and figure things out. The North Node is a 1.5 year long transit. You still have about 1 year and 4 months to go. So look forward to it. I think right now you're being shown a vision of where you can go. So the things that you're focused on, the things that are inspiring to you, the things that you're thinking a lot about, you're like, I wish I could do this, or this seems like a really good idea, this seems like a really good business. All those things that are enticing you at this time, Leo, may be your clue as to which direction to go and exactly where to apply yourself. With the Magician here, this is saying that it's up to you to make certain changes so that you can go in new directions. So you may have to make some changes in your life at this time, Leo. Okay, so next sign we have is Aries. I know I did Aries the last couple times, so I'm glad you're first, Aries. Let's take a look at your astrology first, and then we'll get into the tarot. So Aries. So of course, for you, another focus, you're a sign that's focused on money, and not because of your sign, just the current transits, very money oriented. I'm shifting. There we go. I had to move because my foot's asleep. But anyway, Aries, really focused on money at this time. Your expertise, the things you've put effort into, are guiding you, and they're your backbone. I think that there's a separation for you with regard to people who don't like you very much. So if you have people like haters or people who are taking away from your success, I think you need to turn your back on them really fast. And I think that there's like things within your heart that you really want, and it's all about applying yourself and getting them. And I think that you will be able to achieve those things. Again, your key is letting go of bad relationships and kind of people that suck, people that are not very nice, people who are kind of disingenuous, or in whatever way, people who are not good for you. I think you have a lot going on, a lot to offer, and I think that it's important for you to not allow other people to take away from that. Okay, so we have first the 5 of Cups. I think continual disappointment is a sign that this person's not supposed to be around you, or they're not a good connection for you. Then we have the Strength card, which is the card of Leo. So the Leo energy is in your 5th house. I feel as though maybe you've offered like, hey, this is really fun. Like you have a fun idea, and somebody's being a Debbie Downer. Sorry to all the Debbies out there. Somebody's being like negative, or, bringing you down, like kind of like Saturn shooting down your good ideas. Then we have the 2 of Cups, but love kind of brings you two together. I have a feeling that the person that you've been kind of back and forth with, Aries, if there is someone, is not the person that you're going to end up with. I think you think that this is the person, but I think that you're going to be very surprised as someone else is going to come into your life, and they're going to be much better suited. It feels as though someone is continually disappointing you in some way, and you want this relationship to work, but there's disappointment here. And I think that you think that this is the person, but I think somebody's coming around who is much more of a better fit, much more better energy. Then we have the 4 of Wands. happy home, happy family. You just want someone. I don't think it's time yet. I think maybe when the sun enters into Aries, this will be a much better energy for you. I think that you're waiting on some change, and Aries season is just a couple days away. So you're on the precipice of change. I don't think that I think that the people that have been milling around you at this time are just not the people that you're supposed to be around. I think they're reminders of what you need to let go right now. And the people that will come in within like 2 to 3 days are going to be much better. So you've been seeing who is the dud, thumbs down in your life right now. Let's see the next message. 3 of Wands, just waiting for your birthday. Good things coming in. I don't think this is so bad. I think that you're about to feel a huge bounce back. And when the moon reaches Sagittarius, which is going to be on the 23rd of March, that may be by then the sun will be in Aries, moon in Sagittarius. You're going to have a big improvement of how you're feeling. So right now you just might be feeling drab, like people are not calling you back, like things are just not flowing in the way that you want them to. This is about to change and things are going to get better. And for those of you who are having a birthday, so sun in Aries, I think that if there's going to be like surprise parties and people are going to be showing up that are unexpected. So you're about to have a good time. And I think that yeah, if you're feeling a little blue right now, it's just the transits. Let's see the next energy. Let's see the astrology for Libra. I'm just switching to Libra. Okay, let's take a look at her chart or their chart. So, okay, so for Libra, again, your MO, your mission this year is for change. Embrace change. Passionate relationships possible. Intimacy is possible. Like an intimately driven relationship is possible. And also bringing in closer financial relationships, partnerships, and so forth. So becoming closer with people and less focus on, just having autonomy financially. Now, I'm all for financial responsibility, especially for women, meaning, have your own bank account and so forth. This isn't really about that. This is more of a focus on, just connecting with other people and coming together for the purpose of financial prosperity between yourself and someone else. Okay, there is some type of unexpected opportunity that may come up for you, and especially if you've been working towards something very hard at this time with this full moon, something might be coming through, something unexpected. You may have people around you who are aware of what you've been doing, and they may in some way bring that into more the the forefront. So maybe something's been going on quietly, discreetly. Someone might be aware of it and they may be bringing that to the forefront. So if at work you've been doing something really good, somebody might give it attention or something like that. Some kind of unexpected light's going to be shown on your efforts. So congratulations, Libra. I hope it's good. But remember, this year is all about transformation. Take what you have, change it, go a different direction. It's time to release things for Libra in a big way. And definitely release being by yourself and embrace being as a part of a group or some kind of arrangement between yourself and others. So first card is the Emperor. That's the energy of Aries. And so this is in your 7th house of partnership. Like I mentioned, something could be coming up. We have a new moon in Aries coming really soon. And so that's going to be good, I hope, for you. So in the next new moon is a new moon in Aries. So 3 of Cups. Reunion with a partner. Now this is making me think of the new moon. So let go of what you've been doing and make room for something special. This could be a return to a job as well for some of you. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles. This is a very earthy, besides the fact that it's Virgo, this is a very earthy water energy that we're under right now, Libra. So it's not your natural energy. I think someone's wanting your attention, and there's a lot of, how do you say, there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of personal boundaries that this person needs to respect. And so I think you're open to reconnecting with this person. This could be romance, or it could be with work, like an ex-boss wants you back at work or something like that, wants your attention. But I think that you're careful about letting them back in. They have good things to offer to you, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So good things to offer to you. There's a new, fresh start, a new opportunity. What is this Knight of Swords? You're defensive about this. I don't know what about this situation makes you feel uncomfortable, but I feel like you don't trust this situation. I never tell people not to trust their instincts. I think your instincts are very important. But this is, I'm just telling you that this might be coming with something good attached to it. So before you throw the baby out with the bathwater, you may want to hear this person out. Okay? Then we have the Magician. You might actually choose to do something on your own, despite whatever I've said. The Magician can represent, you know, an opportunity presents itself from the past, but you choose that, like, a better path forward at this time is your own path. If you feel that way, then that's your best decision. Overall, you are going to be sort of shuffled this year towards being around others and working around others more. However, you don't have to force the issue just because it has to come of its own fruition, right? So maybe it'll happen in a month or two as the North Node gets more into Taurus. So trust your instincts, but I do feel as though, you know, there's a defensiveness there. There's a reason why the good offer, why the person knocking on your door from the past is making you feel uncomfortable. And maybe a part of that is, you know, past transgression of boundaries. Like they were dishonest to you before and now you're not so open to them. So let's see where that goes. We'll do another video on this very soon. So this is just some clarity for you. So next we have Cancer. Hi Cancer, welcome to my channel. Now let's take a look at your astrology first. So Cancer has some pretty nice astrology. I'm really happy to tell you that there is like an emphasis of new connections, new friends, new people to care about. You are supposed to sort of let go of some of the things you've been doing alone. So let's say that you've really got into knitting for the last year or two while the transits were in different placements, and you knit for hours every day. Maybe this is the time to let go of your fun activity for the time being and try to connect with people, try to get out of the house, you know, try to do it differently. So a part of this whole situation, a part of this whole energy is you letting go of, you know, something that you've been doing for fun or recreation and kind of connecting with people more. With this full moon, it's very, very personal because it's in your IC. So this is the most personal placement. I think that you're having a change of heart about your life and the way that you see it. And I think it's very, very deeply connected to your early childhood. So your impression of people and situations has been contextualized in some way by a childhood experience. And now you are in some way reframing that. Maybe you see a different light of it. Maybe you see a different perspective. So I think that right now the theme that's really coming up is be open to new people and new ways of thinking. Be open to new kind of ways of dealing with things. Rethink the things, the biases that you have, and allow new people into your life. Okay, so let's see your cards for the full moon. Magician's coming. Oh, Mercury, right? We've talked about this. So I already said that in a previous sign reading that Mercury was going to come up a lot because it rules the third decan of the Virgo sign in which the full moon is happening, as well as ruling Virgo. So we'll see the Magician all over the place. It just means, you know, you are the architect of your own destiny, and at this time, and it's very much up to how you think about things. You literally can say, like, for example, let's say that you say to yourself, I can never be friends with people who like dogs because a dog bit me when I was a kid and it feels terrible. Maybe with this energy, you rethink things through and you're like, hey, I can be open to a dog. I can open my heart to a dog, and or people who have dogs. Maybe not all dogs are bad. So it's that kind of rethinking things, and it could be a variety of things. This is just an example, but yeah, you could be rethinking some preconceived notions or beliefs and allowing new people in. So this is a very good thing to do right now. Seven of Swords, you're worried about people. A lot of Cancer's notions are tested and true, meaning Cancers like Virgos and Scorpios, they really have a list of things that they avoid about people based on past experiences, which is good because it's unbiased. It's just based on experience. However, sometimes those lists become rigid and they don't apply to all things. And because they are from lived experiences, Virgos, Scorpios, Cancers may be resilient to allowing change with those things, so they're not as flexible with their rules. And so if you feel like maybe you're in a rut and maybe you've said no to everyone who has a dog and you're kind of lonely baloney because of this, because dogs are awesome, maybe it's time to open up and kind of check what the things that you're applying to your social relationships that are keeping you from being around more people. Maybe you need to rethink why. People need to maybe rethink what you say no to people about. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles, a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, secondary transits in water. It's definitely, there's something about your childhood that you're looking at for a second time, and it involves personal boundaries that you live with until right now. So, you know, rethink your boundaries. The Scorpio energy is showing up all the time too. You know, maybe for some of you, this is stuff with relation to your children. So maybe because of what you experienced, you don't allow your children to have certain experiences because you're worried about their well-being. Maybe you're changing some of your approach with regard to your kids. So maybe you're realizing things have changed and maybe you can do things different. So there's a lot of like personal change that you're going through at this time. Page of Pentacles next. And as you make these changes, now you can try to control this or not, but it's going to happen anyway. As these changes happen, as you start changing your perspective, you're about to have new opportunities. And I think it's mostly with friends, you know, new opportunities in terms of like who you hang out with, where you spend time with. And there's your card, Cancer, which is the Chariot. So that's the card of overcoming. It's just whatever you've been left with from childhood. The Queen of Pentacles can represent the mother as well. And because we're like talking about right at your IC, this can represent, you know, your relationship with your mother, how it was restrictive, and maybe you find a way through. So this feels like a nice big full moon for you. Of course, Virgo and Cancer are sextile, so that's a very strong energy. So rather than running away, maybe this is the energy. Rather than running away, you're kind of overcoming some things, and it's allowing you to have a better foothold on some relationships, and maybe something new is coming up as a result of this. And I really get the vibe that you're being much more lenient with your kids because you're easing up about some worries that you have about childhood. So that's some nice energy. So now we have Gemini. Hey Gemini, welcome to my channel. Let's take a look at your cards. Okay, so first let's talk about your astrology. So a lot's changing for Geminis. I'm starting to see that maybe you've gone through the biggest upheavals in 2019, 2020, and 2021. They just ended right at the end of the year. And I think that many of you are going to make some huge changes in your life. And a lot of it's not going to be upfront right away. I think that there's a lot changing behind the scenes for you. And I think that there's a big release of how you live your life, essentially. So I think that that's a big picture kind of way of looking at things. Right now, there's a lot of focus on the home. Some of you are deciding that the home that you always thought you needed to live in is not the home you need at all. Some of you are having a big change of heart. Many of you are getting ready for opportunities in career that challenge your idea of home. You know, they challenge your idea of home because you see the opportunity of a better home somewhere else now, whereas maybe before you never thought that way. And also, I think that some of you are learning about how your relationships with your family have helped you and formed you to the person that you are today. And this could be for difficult relationships or the supportive, good relationships. There's a lot of reflection of how your family relationships have led you to your current position in terms of your work, in terms of your career, in terms of who you are in the world. And so there's whatever you're thinking about in that way is probably becoming like more pronounced in the coming weeks until April. So it's possible that at this time you're gaining more momentum in terms of work or in terms of prosperity, and it's either despite your family or it's because of your family, and you're seeing that connection in a deep way. Okay, so for some of you, it's like you've overcome overbearing family members that held you back, and for some of you, it's literally because your parents drove you to soccer practice every day after school, that kind of thing. Let's see the next message. We have the Seven of Pentacles. So some long-term investments that are coming up. I think this is a quiet yet totally transformative time for you at this time, Gemini. So on the surface, people won't know that so much is changing. They have to look really close to see it. And maybe you don't even see all of it yet at this time. Some of you are changing your financial strategies too. I really think that your financial organization is changing. You're doing things differently. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles. I think that some of the people, if you're dealing with someone who's financially suppressed you and not given you so much strength, I think that there could be a confrontation with that person coming up. So if there's a person who has been limiting to you or, suppressive of you, I think that very soon you may say something, or they may overstep a boundary and see that you're pulling away, and they will initiate a conflict. So it's one or the other. Either they get under your skin and you just call it out for what it is, or they get upset and they will come at you with some kind of gnarly communication. But I think you have new financial beginnings, Gemini. I think you have new financial opportunities in better directions. And then we have the Five of Cups. See, the person is disappointed, but just because someone is disappointed, it does not justify their behavior. So someone's been shitty to you, and they've been shitty to you for a while. And so I don't think that it's nice that they feel bad about it, but did they feel bad about it to not do it? So they may try to communicate with you about this. They may try to figure out different things. For some of you, some Geminis are literally thinking about changing their home at this time, going in a different direction, not being in the same home situation as they've always been in. So literally leaving your partner or distancing yourself from a situation. Someone's trying to exert power on you as you are breaking free. And don't worry about it. You will find a way out. The right solution will come to pass in this situation. It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of how. And you just need to be patient for that to happen. So somebody's being controlling. And I think it's the same person as before. Okay. So let's see the next messages. We have Aquarius. Hi, Aquarius. Let's take a look at your astrology first. So we have Aquarius first. Let's see. Not first, but you've gone first recently. So, okay. So for many of you, the next year will involve a change of home. And this is beyond just house. I mean, you could literally move house, but you can also change to think where your home is. And this could be starting already for you in some way. Some of you are going to have a financial boost that will really, really help with this new direction. And with this full moon, it's likely that you're becoming aware of what some things that need to change. I think that maybe you realize how you may have to become more independent financially in some ways with this full moon. Also, another big theme that's coming up for you at this time is distancing yourself from your career, honestly, going away from other people. I think you're doing a massive turn again in your life. And I think once again, you're going in a different direction. And that's a good thing. But I don't think it's anybody's business but yours. I think that's where it's coming from. I sense that you're feeling more private. I sense that you're feeling more internal at this time. I think that you have your own things going on. And I think that it's time to change some of those outward relationships that are just maybe compliments. Maybe they don't really matter as much. So not that people don't matter. It's just, I think that your life is changing. It's an Aquarius change that you're beginning. Okay. So let's see your cards. We have the King of Wands, Sagittarius or Aries. I already said this to someone else, but we have a new moon in Aries coming up in 2 weeks. So that's exciting. This could involve a sibling coming in the way to help you, to give you new opportunities. Then we have the King of Pentacles. I did get a download for some Aquarians now. Not everybody's dating. Not everybody's dating men. If you're not dating men, this could be a woman. But I did get a feeling that some of you might be moving in with your partner. And this may be a big change to the way that you lived your life until now. So you may be moving in together, taking a new step in your relationship. I do think you're resilient though, Four of Pentacles. I think you like your autonomy. I think you like your resources. You like the way things are now. And I don't know if you're so open towards, it's going to be a bit of an adjustment, but I do sense that if you do choose to move in with someone else, I do feel like you're going to feel really happy about it once it's done. And I get that there's going to be a great financial improvement. So the two people together, there's going to be a great financial improvement for you guys. So I don't know if this is a motivating factor for you, but I sense that when you do move in with someone or when this happens, there's going to be like a bigger house, a bigger arrangement, more spending money. It's just at first it's going to feel weird. And then we have the Justice card, which is Libra. I'm excited for you. Yeah, I think that maybe there's someone from far away that could be reaching out to you at this time as well. So there could be like an old relationship and a new relationship happening at the same time. I feel as though that the old relationship wasn't as financially giving, and maybe this is why some of you are financially independent at this time, because in the past maybe you had a partner, or this could be also a job that was not reliable and that wasn't really good to you, and you made things more on your own terms. The new situation is much better, and you're not so willing to give up your own terms for someone else. Then we have the Eight of Pentacles, Sun in Virgo. I just feel like you've worked out your own thing and you're not so keen on sharing, even though it feels like it might be a good opportunity. Jupiter in Pisces. Wait until April. You're going to have, I'm pretty sure, Jupiter is in Pisces right now. This is the card that it rules. And so Jupiter in Pisces is like, how do you say this? In your second house. And I think that there's going to be, for many of you, a financial breakthrough. Wait for when the financial opportunity hits, because everybody's going to be different. But if you get a big windfall, then maybe it'll change things, how you look at things and what you want. So big money coming your way, Aquarius. Exciting. It's good. Congratulations. Okay, so next sign is Scorpio. Let's take a look. If you guys notice, I turned up the lighting because it's getting dark outside. I'm stretching it with today's reading, but because it's a full moon, I really wanted to come out and do this for you. So here I am. Okay, so hi Scorpio, welcome. So you have the big relationship alignment at this time. So again, moving towards partnership, but that comes on the caveat of letting go of aspects of yourself. So you have to work on yourself in order to have a better relationship. But when you change aspects of yourself, your expectations, your beliefs, then you will greatly improve your partnership and possible partnerships that you may be available. Now, right until April, you have a very lucky transit for romance and love. So keep your eyes open if you're single or if you're looking. You might find new friends at this time. This full moon is really good for friendship. I had the download as I was getting ready for this, that for you, that I felt like for you, someone's friendship is coming, like someone you know has treated you very nicely, and through this full moon, this point of self-awareness may be coming up, and you're like, that person really is my friend. That person is really kind. You know, they have really good energy. So I think you might be realizing which friends are actually really awesome at this time. So I think you have great transits for love and all sorts of relationships. So really put yourself out there. And honestly, Scorpio, I have lots of Scorpio energy. You know, we can be very, very stubborn. It's a really good idea to, which things about you make you hard to be around. So see if you can adjust them, because I think the payoff for that will be really good. Okay, I'm not calling anybody out, but the South Node transit in your first house is really good for that. Okay, so we have the King of Wands. I'm calling myself out. How about that? Veroosh, be more social. No, I'm going to hang out in my lair and make videos for my friends. King of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries. Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. So it looks as though I feel as though maybe there's a person who's come through. I think that there's a wariness. Someone has come through as, they are worried that they came through as an energy that they're not. So they're worried that they can't live up to the energy that they've projected themselves to be. And they've met someone who's mysterious, who they like a lot, but they're very, very worried that they can't live up to the expectation that they've set up for themselves. We have the Queen of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. I have a feeling that there's like advice being given. There's someone who's very strong in this situation who's giving advice, and likely it's a woman. And it could be a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, although not necessarily so. I feel as though someone's opinions weigh heavily on this relationship. This might be someone who's trying to explain to people how to deal with a situation that they're involved in, but I have a feeling that there's resistance to this person's advice for whatever reason. Let's see the next message. We have the Three of Swords. So remember what we're saying about the Three of Swords. Basically, it breaks our heart, yes, but it's also when our heart is broken that it leads us to love again. So sometimes, you know, that broken heart, the Three of Swords actually leads us into love when we actually decide we don't want our heart to hurt anymore. So it's that kind of situation. Maybe the advice that you have been given, Scorpio, has pulled you away from relationships. Maybe it's time to confront some of the advice that you've believed that other people have given you. Then we have the Devil, definitely working through some deep energy here. And with the Devil, we're pointing at Capricorn. Let me show you in the chart. This is alongside the IC, right? So this is early childhood. This is Capricorn. This is Pluto energy. It really feels as though you have internalized certain beliefs that are hurting your potential in love. And I'm not telling you this to call you out, but I think that it'll improve the relationships you have or give you a higher chance at a relationship if you make these adjustments now. Resistance, be patient, go slow. You will work through it. If you're finding tension, if you're saying, you know, I can't just get over myself and let this type of relationship into my life, or whatever your problem is, whatever you're feeling your problem is. If you feel like there's tension and resistance, then I think that the silver lining of that is that you know it's there. So whatever you're feeling frustrated about right now, check your biases. The only person you're really hurting is yourself by being a certain way. And you're limiting yourself. I feel like someone scared you off of a situation or scared you out of... And I don't necessarily think this person has bad intentions. I feel like this person might have a point or two, but for whatever reason, you have to clarify your mind. This is what this is saying. You have conflicted thoughts about situations, and you're being you're not restrictive, but you're being defensive regarding a situation. And I don't think you're happy about it. So it's time to think about why. And maybe someone's a better friend than you think. You know, maybe several people are better friends than you thought. Okay? So I hope that helps. I have Scorpio rising, if you guys don't know. And when I had that download, I had that sense about a few people. I'm like, those people are really good people, and they've really done a lot in my direction that was positive. But I did have resistance to that I'm not going to describe the reasons, but I did feel resistance towards that. You know, I didn't allow myself to believe. I'm a Scorpio rising. That's why I'm sharing this. I already told you, but anyway, so I had that feeling like, are these people really my friends? Or I had resistance to accepting them. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, no, they're really, really nice people. They've done really nice things in my direction. Not that, you know, being friends is doing things for other people, but they've signaled their genuine disposition towards me. So, you know, Scorpio, double check you're being discriminatory towards others. Okay, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Hi, Sagittarius. I'm kind of excited to tell you guys yours. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not excited to tell you. Well, I won't ruin it for you, but let me tell you now. Okay, sorry. So yours is kind of boring. I'll tell you guys this. It's like basically get down to work so that you can achieve the goals and the opportunities that are out there. You've spent your time. It's the one where I was like, you're sitting at home this weekend. Remember last weekend? So I really felt like whatever you've come to conclusion about your home, about what's going on, you're probably getting some type of perspective on the outside world. You're gaining perspective on what you want to achieve, or you see an opportunity because you sat at home, because you kind of sat by yourself, so, and thought about things. So it was both. I was like, oh, they're not going to like it, because it basically, the message is like, get down to work and and do your due diligence, because opportunities and financial opportunities are on their way to you. But then on the other hand, I was excited because it felt like it was continuing from the previous reading, and I remembered it. I tend not to remember the readings, so unless I double check or something like that, I don't remember because it's too much information. Let's see your cards for this message. I think we have 2 more. I just breezed through this one, hey? We have a lot of readings. You guys have 3 new readings to watch. So we have 6 of Swords. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn, secondary transits in water. Moving on, knowing your boundaries. You're one of these signs. I mean, this full moon, I said it in Taurus's reading, but I haven't said it in the astrology. So the moon is with a fixed star called Izar, right? Which is the veil. But this is in Hebrew, the letter Teth, and it represents Virgo, or the hermit. So it really aligns with this. It's the full moon in Virgo. It's the energy of the hermit. We're all going to have this message like, be independent, but for different reasons. So your reason is achievement. You will achieve more by being independent, by stepping away from some of those things that are eating up your time. And you have some things in career and with money that are happening for you at this time. And so, open your heart and do this. Also, very strong energy in the home with family. So there's like a, home life is good. Connection with your family is good. There's just a really good connection between you and yours. Page of Wands, Sag. This is your Sag, Aries, or Leo. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. You are going to take a new path, a new direction very soon. You're figuring out what that is now. That's the moon in your 10th house. A new career opportunity because you've sat back and thought about things. I don't think it's happening yet with the moon. I think you're finding out what it is right now with this moon. So, pay attention to your thoughts, what you find interesting. Queen of Cups, encouraging energy from friends. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. If you believe in ghosts or, higher frequencies, then it could be something coming through in your dreams, or like a higher spiritual person, a higher spiritual message. Then we have the 5 of Wands. And so I think that you will in some way struggle within yourself to accept this new path, but I think you're very excited about it. I think a part of it is letting go of what you already have. But I think that the prospect of I think that the future feels really good in which direction you want to go. But I also feel like the future looks really good where you want to go. But I think you have a sincere, like a positive feeling towards what is around, like your current situation. So you're nostalgic is the word. But I think you are going to go. I think you're going to get very excited about these new opportunities. And I think you're going to make some changes very soon. So it's moon in the 10th house, awareness about where it's going. It's not happening yet. Okay. Then we have Capricorn. So we know Virgo's last. Hey Virgos, what's up? You're coming up next. Okay, hi Capricorn. So Capricorn's got a romantic one this time around. So romantic opportunities for Capricorn, and this will continue. It's like, you've done the work that you've needed to do, and it's time to let go of some past relationships, some past attitudes. I think that you're letting go of past relationships. I think you've been not focused on relationships for a while. And now that you're thinking about relationships, it's time to let some of them go. So I think that like once you're taking assessment of your relationships and you haven't been paying attention, and now that you're paying attention, not all of them are great. So it's time to clean house with that. I think you're going to be very impatient with the wrong type of situation for now. And I think that you're going to be very focused with this full moon on exactly what you want out of life. You'll know the balance that you want. You'll know exactly like what kind of situations. You'll know exactly what's important to you, and everything else is sort of out of the picture. And maybe some of you are going to have some long-term goal that's coming up right now, and your sibling or a cousin may help you get it. So you might be like setting a new ambition, a new goal at this time. And the way that you're going to be able to do that is with the help of your sibling, so, or cousin or someone your age, okay? But from like a family perspective, not just like someone off the street, yeah? Okay, so let's see your cards. So we have 5 of Wands. It's a little bit of stress. Everybody's a little stressed. I told you guys in astrology why. There's a little bit of stress out there. These are pretty, actually, I'm not going to minimize them. The stress transits right now can make people feel very uncomfortable. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, it's a part of the astrology. We'll get through it and it'll be okay. 3 of Swords. I just think that like, I think you're confronting certain truths about your friends. That's where the 3 of Swords is. Confronting about, you know, who's who and what's what. But I do think that you're being drawn towards people that you care a lot about. So this is family and this is relationship. You might be thrust whom you're having a strong connection with. Hopefully it's love if that's what you want. But if it's not love, then it could be a good friendship. And it could be a good friendship. And any kind of like situation that's causing you grief or doubt or worry, you're so incentivized to go in this good direction that you're going to be like really turned off from having to face the energy of that. Okay? So good people in, bad people out. That's such a funny way to say it. Okay. So Virgos, last but not least. Hey Virgos. I did shuffle the cards, you guys. And sorry it's so dark, but it kind of looks nice and foggy, which I like. Happy full moon in Virgo. And if you guys are watching and you're not a Virgo, typically for the lunation that we're going through, like the Virgo full moon, this is a message really for everyone. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me show you guys, because we discuss this a lot. So people say, watch for your rising, right? Well, you can draw a chart for every single transit. And since the moon is in Virgo, right, we can put Virgo full moon in the first house. And this is the chart for the Virgo full moon when we put it in the first house of the self, right? So it's actually the way that you can read for so your moon has a first house chart. Your south node has a first house chart. Your Venus, Mercury, all of them, you can draw a chart for. So, and that applies to the energy of the full moon, probably better than anything else. So Virgo, self-awareness with this full moon is a huge one. Overall, I think that, you know, eyes open, new opportunities on the horizon. You're going to have a big year of expanding your horizons. I think your world got pretty small until very recently. And now I think you're going to start making it bigger. Now, these types of transit last years, so don't expect everything to change. But when you look back to 2022, you'll say, this is where it all began. This is where it started getting bigger. You know, this is where it started expanding again. And then it'll contract again every, 10 years or so. So right now it's kind of you're reaching out and putting things into your basket, Virgo. Okay, so that's one part of it. The second part is that relationships and partnerships are really guiding you. It depends on what type of relationships you have going on. This is business, romance, or friendship, family, whatever. But it also depends on whether they're good or not so good relationships. The good ones are probably giving you insight on like what you need to let go of, especially like childhood traumas, because your IC is here, your childhood part, and the South Node is here. So it's a big release of how childhood was. I explained that in a recent video, and I think it's in that playlist, but I don't remember. But yeah, releasing of childhood stuff. And we'll talk about the nodes more specifically, just not today. And so, yeah, big release of childhood stuff. If it's positive, then you'll be very drawn towards the people that you're in positive partnerships with, and they'll really verify or affirm your personality, and you'll say to yourself, I want more of this. So it's a pretty clear cut of what you don't want and what you want. And because of that awareness, you're going to see the world out and say, oh, I want to change my life in this way, or, I want to do this, or I want to do that. It's inspirational transit. So I'm pretty excited to tell you about it. I'm pretty excited to have it now. I'm going to be reading books today just by myself, after we're done. So I'm reading some important books. They're nonfiction. I don't really read fiction too much. And that's how I'm spending my full moon, expanding my mind, ninth house. I wonder how many books I'll read at this time. Albeit I don't really read books from cover to cover. I read a lot every day, all the time, but I don't read I read the part that I want to know about. Unless I'm gonna read a bunch about a topic, I usually read about, specific to what I'm trying to learn. So between several books or whatever. Okay. So just so I can relate, I'm a Virgo. Maybe you can relate to that. So that North Node in the ninth house, first house, full moon, it's, expansion of consciousness, seeing the opportunities. Some of you guys might be seeing opportunities in terms of where you want to go, like travel, broadening of horizons. This is where you're at. And either you are going to be affirmed by your partnerships, or you're going to be thinking about what your partnerships in the past and friendships have lacked. And it's going to really help you rethink things through. And when you rethink things through, new people will come in. So it depends on what situation you're in, lots of deep thoughts, Virgo. Okay. So we have the Chariot card, overcoming. That's what I mean. The things that got in under your skin before. I think that you're thinking about life in a different way now. And again, expanding, looking forward to things, being interested by different things. Then we have the Four of Pentacles, Sun in Capricorn. Lots of people are getting this card. Lots of still restriction. Lots of little telling ourselves we can't do this, we can't do that. Then we have the Lovers. So maybe some of you are not letting love in at this time. If this is your situation, maybe think about what's stopping you and why you're resisting, because it seems genuine, right? We have the Lovers, and then we have the Death card here, overcoming a piece of yourself, really letting go. That message about childhood is huge. So, we go for therapy to let go of aspects of our childhood and early years to work through them or whatever. We spend a lot of money. This transit really helps. So if you're spending money to let go of parts of your early childhood, this transit is going to push you right along. So hopefully you can work through them well. Five of Wands, these cards keep on coming up in the same way. And you guys see how I shuffle? It's completely random. So stress about, I feel as though if you're resisting a relationship, Virgo, and you're experiencing stress, think a lot about why that is right now. Not in a good or bad way, but like really try to understand why you're resisting that relationship. I don't get the message to tell you to ignore that feeling. I get the message that at this full moon, you'll understand deeply why, or really think about deeply why. Queen of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Somebody's going to really give you some love. Female or male, I don't know. But somebody's going to reach out. There's going to be a very warm energy reaching out to you with a lot of love. Okay, Virgo, I did look. So 3 of Wands on the bottom. Wait for things to come in, to become clarified. I really like this Chariot card for you guys here. It really means like processing all old BS and moving past bad situations. Anyway, you guys, it's getting dark, so I should go. But thank you to everybody who was live. I'm going to go and read your comments in between reading my book. Remember, the full moon is tonight. It's in an hour from now here on the West Coast, but it's going to be at like 10:30 p.m., 11:30 p.m. on the East Coast. So maybe there's no moon here. It's very dark. It's overcast here. So I don't get to see the full moon, maybe through the clouds as they break up. But maybe where you are, you can see the moon. Say a little prayer for Ukraine. Say a little prayer for all people on earth who are suffering. And yeah, I hope this full moon brings you guys a lot of positive